Hey, sports fans, we're back at it again. And today, we're bringing you the 5 safeties taken before Kansas City Chiefs All-Pro and Super Bowl champion Tyrann Mathieu. But before we get into Tyrann Mathieu and the safeties chosen before him, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Got it? All right, let's go. Growing up, life was hard for Tyrann Mathieu. Born to a mother who was out chasing dudes, as Tyrann put it, and a father who killed a man when Tyrann was 2, Mathieu struggled to find his footing early on. After being handed off to his grandparents, Mathieu was given some stability, but only for a short while, as tragedy would strike in 1997 when Mathieu's grandfather died. After that, he was adopted by his uncle and would stay with them until they lost everything to Hurricane Katrina. The family moved to Texas for some time and ended up living in the streets before moving back to Louisiana. Now a young teen in a bad part of town, Mathieu turned to marijuana to help him cope with the pain he was experiencing in his life. Mathieu found football, but even the sport wasn't a complete escape, as he said often he heard gunshots at the park that he used to practice at. Before long, Mathieu found his way to St. Augustine High School's football team and earned himself a reputation on the field as one of the better players in the state. Mathieu took his talents to the home state college of LSU, and it was from there that Tyrann Mathieu transformed into Honey Badger, a nickname given after gaining a reputation for having an aggressive playing style that embodied the nickname of the Tyrann Mathieu stood out as a true freshman and was even named Outstanding Defensive Player at the Cotton Bowl Classic. Things were looking up for him, and the expectations were even higher in 2011, and he proved everyone right by winning SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Now, although Mathieu would serve a 1-game suspension in October of 2011 for violation of LSU's drug policy, he would help LSU win the SEC championship game and would win MVP. In his second season, he would also be handed the Chuck Bednarik Trophy for being college's best defensive player and was a Heisman finalist. Several highs for Mathieu, marked with just one low, the drug violation. Entering his third year, the expectations were again through the roof for LSU's national phenomenon, the Honey Badger, and the NFL world was already licking its chops at the 5'9" defensive back, highly regarded as the nation's best. But then, in August of 2012, head coach Les Miles made an announcement that Mathieu was to be dismissed from the team due to violations of LSU's team rules. There was speculation that this violation was drug-related, but Coach Miles never confirmed. A week later, he entered a rehab in Texas. 2 weeks later, he returned to LSU, and unable to play football, he enrolled in the fall semester classes. A month later, Mathieu and 3 other LSU players were arrested on possession of marijuana. Although many teams had him off their draft boards due to all the character concerns, right? He ended up going in the 3rd round and sliding all the way to the Arizona Cardinals. Spent his last 7 seasons building a Hall of Fame caliber career, being named a first-team All-Pro twice, and hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. But how have the 5 drafted in front of him fared? The first safety drafted was University of Texas first-team All-American Kenny Vaccaro. Vaccaro was seen as the premier safety in the draft and a safer bet than Tyrann. He ended up being selected by the New Orleans Saints with the 15th pick, and in his rookie season, he would be voted to the Pro Football Writers Association All-Rookie Team. The following year, all of that promise was almost completely forgotten as Vaccaro regressed as a safety, but after a bounce back in his 3rd season, the Saints decided to exercise their option on his contract. After being up and down for the next 2 seasons, the Saints decided to let Vaccaro walk, and he'd sign with the Titans. Vaccaro, by all accounts, has been solid for Tennessee, but far from the promise that he was drafted with. The second safety drafted ahead of Tyrann was a teammate of his, LSU first-team All-SEC safety Eric Reed. Reed was selected by the 49ers with the 18th pick in the 1st round, a starter right out of the gate. Reed played well in his rookie season, and he was instrumental in helping them reach the NFC Championship. Although they lost to the Seahawks, Reed would be selected to the Pro Bowl and recognized on the All-Rookie team. In 2014, the Niners brought in rookie Jimmy Ward to compete with Reed in training camp, and Reed would win the camp battle, and he played well during the season until it was cut short by injury. Injuries would continue to plague Reed, and eventually the Niners would let the safety walk. Reed would end up with the Panthers and have a decent stint, but never lived up to his first-round billing. The third safety drafted ahead of Tyrann Mathieu was the first-team All-American and first-team All-SEC safety out of the University of Florida. Matt Elam was the final pick in the first round at number 32 and was brought in to play on a stacked Ravens defense. He started in 15 out of 16 regular season games on the impressive side and played well during his rookie year, but he would struggle in coverage in year 2 and lose some of his playing time. After going on the injured reserve in 2015, by 2016, the former first-round pick, well, he was already considered a bust, and in 2017, Elam would get arrested and the Ravens quickly announced the safety was no longer in their plans. After a stint in the CFL, he would play his way to the XFL, but was waived in March of 2020 by the DC Defenders. The fourth safety drafted before Mathieu was all Sunbelt safety out of Florida International University, Jonathan Cyron. Cyron was regarded as the best safety to ever come out of FIU and was chosen just one spot after Elam as the first pick in the second round by the Jags. Like Elam, he played well in his rookie season, racking up tackles and fortifying a Jags defense that was better with Cyron out on the field. Also like Elam, Cyron badly regressed in year 2 and even led his team in missed tackles. He spent the next 2 seasons narrowly winning the starting job in training camp by people brought in to replace him, and the following season, the Jaguars would let him walk. In 2017, he would latch on with the Titans and again be named the starter. After helping them go to a 9-7 record and a playoff berth, things were looking up, but after he suffered a torn ACL in 2018, Cyron would spend the next 2 seasons on 3 different teams before settling in on the 49ers practice squad. University of South Carolina safety DJ Swearinger was the final safety chosen before Tyrann Mathieu, and the 57th overall pick by the Jags. Swearinger was named the third-string free safety early on, but he fought his way into the lineup. In his rookie season, he finished as the 71st safety out of 86 and was already being viewed as a bust. The following season, he would finish even lower on the safety list at 78 out of 86 after being released by the Jaguars after 2 seasons. Swearinger found his way to Tampa Bay, where he was primarily a special teamer. After the Bucs experiment didn't work, he would end up spending 2 stints with the Cardinals and 1 with the Redskins, Raiders, and Saints. After never coming close to his draft capital, Swearinger is viewed as more of a role player than a pivotal piece of any defense. All in all, none of the safeties on this list had close to the career that Tyrann Mathieu had, and if it weren't for the character concerns, they would have all been selected after the 2-time first-team All-Pro safety out of LSU. Further proof that the draft would be a crapshoot at times, it's not always about when you're taken,